and use it for yourself by building a giant sphere around the sun with solar panels on the inside. People think like, that goes back to Kardashev's, the idea of this Kardashev scale back in the 60s, where he's like, look, there's gonna be a natural progression of civilizations that goes, first you collect all the energy you can from your planet, and then you use that to do amazing things. And then you collect all the energy from your star, and then you use that, do amazing shit with that. And then, the whole galaxy. So Kardashev thought there was a scale that civilizations naturally progressed through.
And you hopefully don't blow yourself up along the way.
Well, I think that's the question. I mean, I've criticized the Kardashev scale on the papers I recently did, because what it fails to take into account is the fact that, on your way up to the type 1. Type 1 is when you harvest all the energy from your planet, which basically means somehow covering your planet in solar panels or something. That neglects what we've learned since Kardashev wrote his paper in '64, is that, planets don't look at shit. The planet's going to feed back. You try and build, massive shit on your planet. The planet has its own, biosphere is pretty powerful. You got to take the biosphere into account, or you get climate change. You get, the planet being pushed out in that direction. But whatever. So for the alien megastructures, people thought like, oh, maybe this is like a piece of a Dyson sphere, right? This is like, that's so, when he proposed this, people went bonkers over this, right? He was just saying, he's like, look, here's the 15 different things it could be, and I'm going to have to at least consider the possibility that it's artificial. But for me, and some people got angry at me, but I felt like this is,
why did they get angry?
Because there's been a thing in the community over the years. SETI got it bad, right? SETI, for a bunch of SETI was sort of thought as being like, oh, I could do this and that.
But why is that? Just because there's no results?
I just think, you know what it is? It's because of shitty TV. I really, in some ways, right? It's all, it's prosthetic foreheads, right? It's the whole, we had so much kind of crappy, speculation about aliens that trying to do anything scientific always had this whiff sort of thing, and then there's the UFO stuff, which is completely separate, has nothing to do with it.
But SETI never really achieved any results, right? There was that one big blip that was highly popularized.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about SETI, we never really did SETI that much. You know what I mean? Like, people have this idea like, wow, we've got telescopes all over the world and they're looking, so the government never funded a SETI study, anything major, right? So people, all that SETI has done is like basically, some dudes on a telescope get a little extra time, like, hey man, quick, let's go look at a star,
right.
So Jill Tarter, who's one of the, the founders, one of the greats of SETI, she compares it's like, we got an ocean that we need to look at, and so far we've looked at a thimble. Right?
Was she the Jodie Foster character?
She's the Jodie Foster character, yeah.
In Contact.
Yeah. So she's, and it's a good point. Like, we haven't really looked yet. So the idea that, the stars are silent or anything, it's like, man, come on, we haven't even begun to do a comprehensive survey.
SETI makes me sad.
Why?
Because I feel like they're wasting their time. And there was a documentary I saw once about some biologist who was convinced that the giant sloth was still alive and that there was examples of them in South America. And this poor bastard had spent more than a decade looking for this giant sloth in South America. And there was this moment where he was chasing down this supposed dung pile, and they were looking for it. And he had this look in his eyes where he was like, holy shit, what if I waste my fucking life in my academic career chasing down something that's not even real?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I've always felt about SETI.
Yeah, but that's not the way the people, everybody who's involved in it, I don't do SETI, I respect the people who are doing it, it's not real. But, most of them are like, look, this is just a multi-generational thing. And even if I don't find it, I'm laying the foundation. It's like, cathedrals, right? It's just like how many generations did it take to build a cathedral? So the first guy who laid the stone was like, I'm not going to see this. So most of them are like, they know that this is gonna, this is it's like the most important question in humanity, right? Are we alone? And they're willing to accept that. Like, if you're gonna do it scientifically, you're gonna have to do it rich. So you just have to accept that. And, so, but like I said, I think we this is a new era now. So the idea of like looking for signals, which assumes that somebody's putting out signals, right? That's a huge assumption right there. But now that we know that there's all these planets and we're staring at all these planets, it's kind of, we need to be thinking differently about, we need to be prepared for like what happens when we see something we don't understand.
Well, it's also, we don't even use radio anymore.
Right.
Cable radio is dying slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Local radio is, it's kind of a thing of the past.
Yeah, right. The only thing that's really we're beating out at a large scale is military radar.
So there'd be some kind of signal. It wouldn't necessarily have to be radar or radio. It would just have to be something that we could detect, some form of anomaly that seemed to be artificial.
Right. So here's some of the suggestions that people are talking about. So Avi Loeb at Harvard talks about the idea, maybe what you need, and you're going to need the sensitivity for this, you're going to see like rocket engines going back and forth. You have a multi-planet civilization, and you're going to see little flares as rockets decelerate and accelerate. People talk about seeing city lights. The telescopes are getting, we're building these giant telescopes. They're like 30 meters.
There may be a potential one day to see a city light.
You could see city lights when you're going to see the planet come around. Like this is all like we're not there yet. But, people
20 years, 30 years.
30 years, 40 years. Yeah, this is a long game. You got to be playing the long game. At some point, we're going to need to build stuff in space that's even larger so we can collect more light.
And won't the issue also be that if we do see these city lights, we're seeing city lights from millions of years ago?
Well, it depends. Like a planet that's started 10 light years ago, that's 10 years ago. So it's not like these things are still huge. Here's a really interesting because one of the things that I'm talking about in the book is like how long is this? Like, that's the real question. All of this stuff is super relevant for us now because the question is, what is the average lifetime of a civilization? So you might be able to see artifacts from civilizations that are gone. Like imagine a civilization covered one of its moons in solar panels. The reflected light is going to show a spectral signature of the panels. So it's like they don't even have to necessarily be alive now that we still might be able to see stuff from evidence of like artificial structures or something that's not natural. So that's the thing, man. It's like we're about to take this step in astrobiology, where we're already running models of exobiospheres, right? Which we're asking, what kind of chemistry can you have if you have photosynthesis on a planet around a star that's smaller than ours, that star's going to be mostly red as opposed to yellow. So the light that's coming off it is going to be different. Can you have photosynthesis? Good, and what would it look like? So we're already doing the work to be ready for exobiospheres. So exo-civilizations, we kind of need to be prepared for that too. What could be the traces? What might we see from a distance from an exo-civilization? They don't have to be signaling us. They're just there, and we're going to catch some aspect of it.
If we did see some sort of a signature from rockets going back and forth, we would have to assume that this is a similarly aged civilization to ours. Whereas if we saw something that was 1,000, 100,000 years advanced, we probably wouldn't see that anymore. We'd probably see some sort of a manipulation of time and space.
Right. If that's possible.
If
it's possible. Yeah, so that's, of course, that is one of the problems. Is that when you start pushing, it's just like saying, what are we going to be like in a million years? Who knows, it's so long. So I think you start with what you know. And the cool thing about the planet part, though, is that, unless they become like energy beings, they're going to have an effect on their planet. So looking at their planets to look for spectral indications, that's fun. Even after they die, they're like, so that's, I think, a cool way to go.
Yeah, I'm so curious as to what we're going to be able to do in 1,000 years, 10,000 years, 100,000 years. If civilization does stay around and we figure out how to not melt the earth,
right?
Boil the oceans or whatever the fuck
all the other crap we're doing, yeah, right.
But there's a bunch of science fiction films that do speculate of what's going to be possible in the future, and one of them was what was that recent one with what's his name? All right. What's his name? The fuck's his name? Matthew McConaughey. The one where they go through the wormholes. Right. How much do those movies piss you off?
They don't. I don't know. I do not.
But they get so
love science fiction. So I do not need my science fiction to be correct. It's, if they want to make it, so I love The Expanse. The Expanse is my favorite show ever. I talk about it.
What is The Expanse?
The Expanse.
I don't even know. Thank you.
So The Expanse, it's a series of books, first of all, that I think are the best science fiction books in the last 15 years.
Really?
And then they made it into a show on Sci-Fi. And then they had 3 years of it, and at first people were like, "Oh, this is kind of hard to follow," because it's a lot of stories coming together. And then, this year it got 100% ratings. Or what is it?
Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes, 100% or 95%. Like, people love the show, and then freaking Sci-Fi canceled it. You know, and so then Jeff Bezos just picked it up.
Oh,
because
good
people
for you,
love
Jeff.
this show.
Fuck yeah, rich
All right, so let me
man.
tell you why this show is amazing, right? So it takes place about 200 years from now. And we are truly a multi-planet species. Mars now has a billion people on it, and it's become its own political power, right? It's separated from the Earth. And then the asteroid belt is also people are colonizing, living on the asteroid belt to, mine resources. But the belters, as they call them, are like second-class citizens. They're basically like super poor, and they got the boot on their necks by either Earth or Mars. And so there's this whole interplanetary kind of political, which is just great. And then you enter into this. They discover like the proto-molecule.
Takes more than that.
This is basically this alien molecule that was really a device that some aliens threw our way billions of years ago. That was to give away. I don't want to. So no, not too much.
It's okay. No one's gonna remember.
Good.
So that complicated.
So that that becomes kind of a weapon in this political. So it's just a great story. It's kind of like people call it like the Game of Thrones in space. But I'll tell you what I love about it is that this is what it's going to look like. Like they get the science on this show so right, as much as you can, right? So, in space, if your rocket motors are on, there's gravity. Because, the rocket motors push up towards you, and so, you got gravity, you can walk around. When you turn the rocket motors off, you can float around, right? On spinning things, anything, so, in this universe, in this the fictional universe, they've taken the big asteroids, and they hollowed them out and spun them up, so people live on the inside, And so at one point, like, one of the characters, the private eye, they got this great sort of film thing going on. He pours a drink, some whiskey, and the whiskey spirals. So they got the Coriolis effect. It's like I peed my pants. I was like, oh my God, they got the Coriolis effect right. So it's like, this is really what it's going to look like. You know what I mean? This is, if you want to imagine 200 years from now, which I think is completely feasible, that we have millions of people living in
Are they making advances socially?
No. So
No?
people are assholes to each other, and that's what makes it. Yeah, but it's only 200 years. That's a lot to ask for.
Well, think about how different we are from people who live 50 years ago.
I mean, are we that different?
I think we're quite a bit different.
In what way? What do you think?
I think we have this ability to communicate now that we never did before.
Yeah.
Where everybody has an ability to say their piece about how they feel about how things are going.
Yeah. No, that's interesting, right? And that has changed a lot of things in a lot of ways. But I mean, has it changed?
One night is 15
I mean, I think evolution.
I think it's chipping away.
Yeah. Well, that would
One
be good.
night is
Because one of the things, what's interesting about this fictional world too is that like climate, the Earth is dealing with climate. The Earth has like 30 billion people on it, and New York is halfway underwater, and so that's part of the story too. Is that so we're trying to navigate our way through now becoming a multi-planet species. So that is a version of at least 200 years where you can really extrapolate the technology and ask yourself. Because that's real. I mean, I think that's really going to happen. If we make it through climate change, that's the prize at the end of the of the story. If we make it through climate change, with the stuff that Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are doing, man, that's real. Like,
Is this what your number one concern is? Climate change?
I'm a single voter. Yeah, climate change. Because it's like it is an existential dilemma. And because of all the writing I did for NPR, New York Times, I have dealt with a lot of climate change.
What's the big, because I recently had a discussion with someone on the podcast about climate change. And it was a weird thing because I kept pulling up all the different scientific consensus studies, all the different studies that show that we were having an impact. It's an undeniable impact.
Undeniable. And 30 years of science. I saw that, and she was like, that's what you said.
I don't think that she's really thinking about that. In her case, I don't think she really thinks about it. I think she just has this stance that she believes that group that she's a part of
That's what it is.
subscribes to. So there's an ideological